Hi, it's Ryan from Knights Around the Table. I've got a game. It's Cartographers. A role player, what is this? A role player tale. You might wonder what that means. Well, let me demystify it for you all. Although I feel like I'm the one who's late to the party and you know all the answers and I'm just regurgitating stuff that you've already got in your brains. In case you're new to this, here's what's going on. This game is a roll and write game and I am no old hat with roll and writes by any means. The very first roll and write game I ever played was Yahtzee. And a roll and write game is one where there's a random thing that happens and then you have a sheet, and based on the random thing you decide to categorize or slot the results of the random thing. Maybe it's like pulling, like bingo, like pulling balls out of that gigantic bigger ball, or maybe you're flipping up cards, or maybe you're rolling dice like you are in Yahtzee. And then depending on what the random result is, you slot the results into a section on a sheet and score differently than your opponent, who might have slotted the random results into a different slot on their sheet. So that's it very, very vaguely. If you want to see more concretely what a roll and write game is all about, check out my How to Play Welcome To video, and that'll explain it much better than I just tried to and fumbled. Cartographers, a role player tale. What's role player? Well, role player was a game where you were actually crafting sort of a Dungeons and Dragons type hero. This has nothing to do with that game, except that what a lot of publishers are trying to do right now is they're trying to develop IP. And so they can come up with new games and they say, well, it's set in the universe of that last game that we did, but it's a completely different game. They did it with Gloomhaven. They did it really surprisingly with Oh My Goods. Like when a game came out and said, set in the Oh My Goods universe. And I said, like, what universe is that? Like weaving wool to make clothes? Is that a universe now? That was really strange, but they've gone on to sort of develop that one. So you don't have to have played role player to play this game. It's not an expansion. You don't need the base game. You can just play this standalone. And the reason why I picked this up is this. Many games are flashes in the pan. People talk about them for as long as the marketing money lasts, and then when the publisher is finished, you know, sending out all their tendrils and having all their Kickstarter preview videos talking about it or whatever, when that all wraps up, people move on to the next thing. It's not so with this game, I've noticed. People are still playing Cartographers. Now, it's not an old game by any means, but I'm surprised that it enjoyed a little bit more longevity than a lot of board games do. So I figured, just based on that, based on the fact that people are still playing it and still enjoying it after I think the marketing spend is mostly gone from it, that's a game that's, I think, worth my interest and perhaps yours too. So here is what you find inside the box. Roll and write games are really simple. There's not a whole lot going on with them. So I think what we see on the back of the box is really what we're about to get. We're going to get probably some pads, some cards to flip up. Maybe if they splurged, it's going to contain pencils. Probably not, but let's crack into it. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It's my board game unboxing music. Copyright Knights Around a Table. I will copyright strike your video if you hum the same way that I do. All right, here we go. Box fartometer, 0. That's a huge letdown. You go to a board game store and you spend good money expecting to bring the box home and have it make a horrible, rude noise for all your family and friends to laugh at. And box after box that I open is silent. You know what? It's really disappointing. It's really starting to get to me now. If you have had a different experience and you have a box or two of a board game, specifically board game, lying around, and when you open it, it makes a horrible fruity tooty noise. I would like you to film that, please, and I would like you to send me a link to the video so that I can download it and permission for me to use it in a Box Fartometer compilation. And we're going to get to the bottom of which games have the most bang for your buck, let's say, so the loudest box farts. And this is all for scientific reasons, of course. This is all for the purposes of study. None of this is pleasurable to me, hearing these horrible noises. But send them to me nonetheless. I think my own stomach just made a box fart. I don't know if my mic just picked that up. Please don't send me videos of your stomach doing the same thing. A little rule book coming off the top. Yeah, these are all the components here. We'll see. Whoa, oh my gosh, pencils. It might have pencils. It's wow, it's actually denser than I thought that it would be for what's in there. And then an explanation of all the cards just in the last couple pages. So an 11-page rule book, not horrible. A little bit longer for a roll and write game than I expected. But what else do we have? Here are the pads that you're going to have. I always used to be nervous about games that involve pads like this, where you actually have to write on your board game components. And then what if you run out? And I've never, ever, ever played a game where I've run out. But board game companies who make these kinds of games they're mensches. They're doing us a solid, because most of them have PDFs of the consumable elements of their games on their websites, and you can just print out more if you want to. And so part of what you're paying for is that they printed it out, and you don't have to run out and buy $90 of Canon inkjet ink that gets sucked dry like the printer's a vampire in 3 print jobs. I'm not gonna go into detail on that. A Goblin Attack is one of the cards off the top of the deck that has a nice little handy rip strip. I'm going to find it and I'm going to open it. I think I am. There it is. Well, this is riveting viewing, isn't it? There we go. There. Yield to me, deck of cards. You shan't have victory on this day. I would say there's probably about like 50,000 cards in this deck, and Goblin Attack is one of them. There's lovely art in here. Bugbear Assault is one. You know what? I have the close-up camera set up, so I'm going to make those a little bit bigger so that you can see them. There they are, right there. Yeah, look. Goblin Attack Bugbear. I'm going to find a cool one, and I'm going to stick it on top of those ones. Those ones are pretty cool, though, man. They've got, oh, this is kind of nice. Treetop Village, popularized by Return of the Jedi. I had that playset when I was a kid. Really cool playset. And then a lot of these look like, I don't know how this game works, but I can figure out maybe the gist of it. Stoneside Forest. You have to draw things depicted in the grid on your sheet thing on your map. It looks similar to a kind of puzzle that you would find in something like Tiny Towns. If you want to see what that's all about, boop, there's a eye. Click on that and you go watch how to play Tiny Towns if this is not entertaining you. And how could it not? Because look, ladies and gentlemen, inside the box, we've got 4 delectably sharp pencils. Wonderful. Look, I was throwing shade. I didn't think they'd include them. I notice with interest, though, that the pencil on the back of the box, it looks like an HB with the yellow school bus paint on it. These are blue pencils. So, I mean, it's hard not to feel a little bit ripped off, but I think I'll get over it. Great. I wonder if we should just go through a few more of these cards. So you'll see ones with monsters, temple ruins, outpost ruins, great river, farmland, in various shapes. You might be able to pick between these two. I'm not too sure how the game works. Homestead, orchard, marshlands, all different things to draw on your map. And then I have no idea what's going on there. Maybe these are goal cards. That makes sense, doesn't it? These are goal cards. These are the things that you're drawing on your map in order to get these patterns on your map and score. Oh, wait, there's text. And I don't mean to brag, but I mostly know how to read. This one says, earn 1 reputation star for each forest space surrounded on all 4 sides by filled spaces or the edge of the map. Yeah, so it looks like these are goal cards based on what you draw, based on the other cards that are drawn. Although, I'm a little bit surprised because the other cards that you draw don't look like there's many of them. But, you know, what do I know? I've never played the game before. A couple of cards that say A, B, C, D, maybe those are to determine player order. If you know how to play, you're probably sitting there screaming at your computer going, it's the blah! Whatever. That's why we do this. That's why we unbox, just to make people angry with me. Have you played this? Do you like this? Am I out to lunch saying that this is one that has shown that it has withstood the test of a little bit of time? Maybe. Was it worth picking up? Will I enjoy it, do you think? Cheryl has especially requested that I do the unboxing of this one early. It's going to air later, but I'm doing it now. My now? Yes, your now. Because she really wants to play it. She went, woo, and her eyes lit up when I showed it to her. So hopefully she'll enjoy it. She's a big fan of Welcome To. I linked to it earlier. So yeah, maybe she'll like this one. Do you like this one? Do you think that, oh, here's a good question. Do you think that this experience, this Cartographers experience, is enriched if you are immersed in the role player IP, or do you think that it completely doesn't matter and you don't have to ever have even known that role player was a game in order to enjoy this game? Please let me know. I'd be interested to hear that. Let me know in the comments below, or if you want to tell me in person, there's the Discord link on the bottom. I'm there a lot, and so are another pile of nice, fine folks that you can talk to about board games. And lately, we've been setting up a bunch of games that you can play online. So there will be people in there, and you can just wander in and say, I challenge you to a game of blah. And I think contractually, legally, they must accept. So follow the Discord link and go in there and get into some trouble and pick some board game fights with the folks in there. You'll enjoy yourself. Thanks so very much for watching this video. Did you just watch that whole thing? Oh, hey, to 100% this video, click the badge to subscribe, and then click the bell to get notifications when I've got new stuff.